Welcome back to Head to Head Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jason Fridge. Joined today with my man, Sonny Terranova. Sonny, it's week 4 of the NFL season. It's been a great season so far. You know, football is back. The vibes are high. But coming in here, we have a loaded 1 p.m. session. You know, you have the London game Sunday at 9 o'clock. But we're going to kick it off here with an AFC battle. Miami Dolphins 3-0, going to visit the Buffalo Bills 2-1. Two of the top teams in the AFC. What are you expecting out of the Dolphins coming off of a massive victory against Denver last week?
Yeah, 70 points, just an absolute dominating performance, complete, just looking like the juggernaut that we know they are with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. The Tyreek Hill-Tua duo is starting to look like probably the best quarterback-wide receiver duo in the league. I think Miami, their defense is starting to, pick it up a little bit. That could have just been bad. Denver on Sunday as well, but, I think Miami, they'll start to get it together a little bit. Obviously, they missed Waddle this past week as well, and they just blew the doors off of Denver. I mean, 70 points. I mean, you can't put enough emphasis on that. Just complete overall domination. And I'm excited, man. This is going to be a very good matchup, AFC East. The Bills, I think they're starting to hit their peak a little bit. Now, last year, we saw them hit their peak. They did have the struggles down the stretch. Josh Allen with the turnovers as well. But as long as, they keep this up and they don't peak too early, I think it'll be fine. But that is the question. Are they peaking too early? Only time will tell.
Yeah, that week 1 loss to the Jets still kind of stings their fan base a little bit, but massive victory against the Commanders last week. You mentioned it, Josh Allen, 4 interceptions on the year. A lot of them have been punt interceptions where he just throws the ball as far as he can downfield. But it's going to be interesting to see if he can get back on the right foot here, because a little bit of a rough start. And then Devin Achane for the Dolphins. What a game. 200-plus yards, 2 touchdowns, electrifying all around the field. That Mike McDaniel's offense is really fun to watch. What's your pick for this game?
For this game, I think I'm going to roll with Miami, man. I think the offense is going to continue to roll. I think Josh Allen, I think we might see a little bit of a slip up here against this Miami defense. And, yeah, I like Miami, man. I wouldn't be surprised. Shootout, or if Miami just runs away with it, I like Miami.
I really like Miami too, but I'm going to have to go with the Bills. In Buffalo, you get that hometown crowd. And Miami, the first 3 games are looking a little bit too good to be true, in my opinion. I think that the Bills are going to come out and really shock the NFL and make sure that they're known they are going to contend in the AFC East alongside the Dolphins. Moving on, we have our next game there on Sunday. It's going to be a big one for our hometown team. Philadelphia Eagles coming back, facing the Washington Commanders. Mentioned it, Commanders had a rough outing against the Bills. Only put up 3 points, and it was a late field goal at that. What did you see through the Commanders' first 3 games? First 2 wins, some would say were lollipop games against Arizona and Denver. What are you seeing out of the team?
Out of Washington, Sam Howell, I think he's just sort of your game manager. I think he reminds me a lot of Baker Mayfield in a way, taking off when he has to, managing the game, can hit the easy throws for sure. Washington, coming out at week 1 against Arizona, game they should have won, right? Arizona sort of has their hand dipped in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. And obviously, this week against Buffalo, they just got absolutely shellacked. And it could have just been they played a better team. Sam Howell going against a more experienced defense in Buffalo that have been together for quite some time now. Washington, they have a good defensive line. They can get after the quarterback. Scary Terry's obviously such a problem. Him and Slay going at it. I think as long as Sam Howell can make the easy throws, I think he'll keep them in it. But I think Philadelphia just might be too much, man. I do. I think we'll have to see. But I do like Philadelphia in this one.
And let's touch on the Eagles real quick. Kind of a slow-ish start on the offensive end for the Eagles in that week 1 game against New England. They started out fast and then stalled almost to their detriment. Mac Jones trying to get a comeback drive going. And then week 2 against Minnesota, first half was slow, second half was a bang. What do you think this offense needs to see to take out the Commanders? A team that, snuck up on them and ended their undefeated season a year ago.
Yeah, before I answer that, I see a lot of hating going on. Let's keep it, 3-0. They're winning their games. Fly, Eagles, fly. But for Washington, I think last year going into this game, they were able to run the football easily. They just ran the football down Philadelphia's throat. I mean, they just could not stop the run. And it obviously, Taylor Heineke, again, he's another game manager quarterback that manages the game. But this year, Philadelphia is the number 1 rushing defense, only allowing 48 rushing yards per game. They do not allow you to run the football. They had the safety against Tampa Bay. I don't know why they ran that up the middle and their own end zone. That was just a dumb play call. But I think it's going to come down to Sam Howell, and I think that pass rush is going to get to him. Hopefully we see Hassan Reddick get his first sack in there. Jalen Carter has been an absolute freak of nature. So I think it's going to come down to Sam Howell. I think the run game might be stuffed this week.
And the run game for Philadelphia is going to be key too. DeAndre Swift, back-to-back massive games, over 100 yards, really sparking that rushing attack. And then we have to talk about it. The city of brotherly shove.
Of course, brotherly shove. There's a lot of talk about it should be banned. Listen, they're just perfected it. They execute it the best. It's a skill issue. It really is a skill issue. You know, you have all these offensive lines last week, and I believe it was week 2 that teams went for it 0 for 5 doing it. The Eagles, they just execute it the best. They have the best offensive line that we've seen, and Jalen Hurts, it helps your quarterback squat 600 pounds. I mean,
definitely makes a little bit of a difference. So I think we can both say Eagles are going to confidently take that game.
Of course. Fly, Eagles, fly. 4-0.
Maybe they will be flying into week 5 with another undefeated record. Last game to talk about, Monday Night Football. Seattle coming all the way across the country to the New York Giants. Now, the Seahawks dropped their week 1 game against the Rams. Since then, their offense has been pretty much unstoppable. Massive game against the Lions. Last week against the Panthers, putting up 37 again. The New York Giants. It's been a rough one for them. They got the win against Arizona, which they needed, but I mean, shutout against the Cowboys, a really tough outing in prime time against the 49ers. What do you think we're going to expect from this game?
From the Giants, I think, now Saquon Barkley, I think his status is up in the air right now. I can't really say how much of a difference, how much of effect he will have. I can't answer that. Their offensive line is just, oh man, it is one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. Seattle doesn't have the best pass rush, so it could give Daniel Jones some time. I think the Giants, it's really going to come down to, I think they need to get Jalen Hyatt into the game, their rookie that they drafted this year. I'm just not really a complete fan of what they've been doing this year. I like Brian Dable, but a team that was down 28-7 against Arizona, shut out against Dallas week 1, and there was a lot of hope that this year was going to be different. Seattle, on the other hand, they've been in a little bit of a shootout the past few weeks. I like Geno Smith. I think he's good at game managing. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, I like what they got over there. Jackson Smith-Njigba, their defense is okay. I think Seattle will be all right. I like Seattle in this one.
The big thing for the Seahawks, too, the rushing game. Finally getting back with Kenneth Walker, 100 yards this past week, 2 touchdowns. He's like their firepower when they really need a play. If Geno's not finding his groove quite yet, because Geno is a great game manager, and he's kind of picking up where he left off last year, which the Seahawks love to see. But having that spark out of the running back in the backfield, that gives their offense a lot of versatility and a great dynamic motion. Daniel Jones, I kind of agree. His struggles, you know, he got that big paycheck. He's supposed to be the franchise guy, and he's kind of not living up to the expectations right now. Seahawks, Giants on Monday night. Who you taking?
Seattle, man. I got to go Seattle. No, not all that much hate toward the Giants. It's just I like what I've seen more from Seattle. I do think Geno can get Seattle to at least the divisional round. I really do. I think Seattle is they're a pretty solid team. I like Seattle.
Now, the Giants have had a tough schedule. Do you think this is a must-win game if they want to compete later on in the season?
NFC matchup, I think it may be. I think it may be. You know, Seattle, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think San Francisco is winning that division. But I think if it comes down to it, this being an NFC matchup, this is clearly a must-win. The Giants fell to the Cowboys already, 0-1 in the division. You know, they beat the Cardinals. But this is definitely, I think, a must-win for sure.
And that is going to be a game that we will see Monday night. Make sure to tune in and let us know how our picks are. Let us know what your picks are, too. For Head to Head Sports Talk, I'm Jason Fridge. Thank you, Sonny, for joining me from House 67 Productions. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.